Good morning. How are you? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It is Thursday morning. We are exactly 1 week away from Thanksgiving. It's Kirsten Liebelt. Welcome in. Come on in. Let's chat insulin resistance again today. Every day, Monday through Friday, if you did not know, we come in and we chat insulin resistance 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Unless I'm traveling or it's a holiday. And so I love doing this with you guys. I love journeying with you, that was a hard word to say, with you so that you can actually get different results that you're looking for. Good morning, Lisa. How are you doing today? Are you doing well? I hope you're doing really, really well. And so today what I wanted to talk about is what everyone is getting wrong about insulin resistance, about reversing it. What is everybody getting wrong about reversing insulin resistance? Let's get into it today. So if you're on the replay, let me know you're on the replay. I would love to know where you're coming in from. Good morning, Linda. Good to see you. Very, very good to see you. And then Monday night in the group Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. That's why I put this up here for you guys on TikTok. Right there, there's a site. If you go scroll up just once, just zoop, you'll find a Facebook blue button, and that's where you can jump in the group. It's called Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. We're almost at 5,000 in the group. And Monday night, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, Jenny Potter, the author of the book Self-Sabotage No More, will be in the group. So jump in there if you would like to. We had a little dusting of snow last night. Here we go, Minnesota. Woohoo! Oy vey. And then the last piece of announcements, let's say that. The last piece of announcements. Good morning, Kristen. Good to see you. Pink hearts are in. I wore pink for you, Kristen. That's what this is all about. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being there. I appreciate you. Wednesday, December 18th, Wednesday night. If you are local in Minnesota, I would love to host you at a basically everything that I talk about, literally everything that I talk about, from the trio to the gut reset protocol to the fat burner, which is really quite an amazing product. We have an expert coming in for about an hour. He's going to be able to discuss and give you a higher level of understanding as to why everything does what it does, etc. I mean, he's quite the deal. He's like 58 years old. I think that he's like 21% body fat. I mean, he knows his stuff as far as just being an expert on how the body works from the inside out, which is what we talk about literally every day. How can you get your body to function at a different level from the inside out? Because that is your answer. Just FYI, spoiler alert. Anyway, if you're local in Minnesota, it's something like 7 to 8 p.m. I would love to host you and give you a swag bag and a hug. A hug and a swag bag. How does that sound? But if you're not, let me know. Reach out to me and I'll put you on my VIP list for a Zoom. Okay. All right, here we go. So what is everybody getting wrong about reversing insulin resistance? This is super interesting. I don't know why my nose just decided to run, but it did. Very strange. I hope there's no allergy to coming on live. I don't want that. That's not good at all. You love the pink. Thank you. My mother used to wear a lot of pink. Anyway, don't know why we all love pink so much, but I guess we do. So insulin resistance is, and we talk about this in the group, you guys, every month we do that 5-day challenge. It's a free challenge every single month. We already had ours for November. We'll get ours going for December again, and then January again. So remember, when done correctly, when done properly, with the right kind of encouragement and like resourcing, you can really turn around your insulin resistance. And what does that lead to? Weight gain. Number one, weight loss. Because you can turn your weight gain around. You can lose weight finally. You can start to feel less achy. You can have less brain fog. You can have better gut function. You can have all sorts of benefits from turning it around. And that includes all of the normal things like the PCOS, the gout, the diabetes, dementia, and scripts, which, hello. Anyway. All right. So insulin resistance is actually more than just a blood sugar problem. And I would love to know if this is news to anybody as I kind of go through this information. Let me know if this is different than what you've heard before, because it's fascinating. And you know what? there are some ideas out there that I don't agree with, because we're not all going to agree on everything, but it's still a really interesting conversation. So insulin resistance is more than just a blood sugar problem. It's a systemic issue that is tied to metabolism. So you've been wondering, right, why you can't lose weight. Inflammation, I mean, that is seriously like the core of all disease, and hormones. And the hormone conversation is the one I feel like we get wrong the most. And because we look at everything through the lens of like to lose weight, calorie in, calorie out, instead of it being a hormonal issue, we are on a hamster wheel. Many people fail to reverse it because they focus on surface level fixes instead of addressing the root causes. And here's where the misconceptions lie. Here we go. Let's get into it. Trudy, you would think doctors would talk about this. It's so important. I know. Nice to meet you, Trudy, by the way. Thanks for jumping on. You would think so. Good morning, Julie. How are you, darling? Good to see you. Very good to see you. Yes, world traveler, Julie. Magda, good morning. She says, good morning, my buddy. Fabulous day. Very good to see you, Magda. Maggie. I love the name Maggie. I think that's just adorable. I love that. All right. Believing it's about cutting sugar only. No, this is not just about cutting sugar, although we do cut sugar. But thinking that you're doing enough just by cutting sugar. Okay. So what's wrong? While reducing sugar is crucial, insulin resistance is caused by more than just sugar intake. Grains, seed oils, chronic stress, and even, and even poor sleep play significant roles. So let's go back over that for just a second. Grains, seed oils, stress, lack of sleep. These are all pieces. So it's not just about cutting sugar, although that's important. People replace sugar with low-fat or sugar-free processed foods, many of which are actually still spiking your insulin levels just as much as sugar. Did you hear that? So you think you're being wise by going low-fat or just sugar-free, but many of them, because they're processed, so stop that cycle of listening to all of the marketing. Oh, this is keto friendly, keto this and keto this, and you never know all of the menagerie of ingredients that are going into this product that are really making it worse for you. And not only that, but they're lying. Most of them aren't even keto. They're just not. By definition, they're not. So that's, anyway. So instead, focus on nutrient-dense, low-carb, high-protein, moderate-fat diet. Low-carb, high-protein, moderate-fat diet. That is a really good formula. And make sure that it's nutrient-dense. You want like real foods. So that's what we talk about in the group, you guys. Ditch insulin resistance for women. Anybody can jump in there. And oh, by the way, you'll get tagged in a free PDF that has recipes, pantry ideas, and snack ideas, just for jumping into the group. And then remove all processed carbs and inflammatory foods, not just the sugary ones. And I know it's challenging. And I know it's even more challenging right now during the holidays. That's why we're going to talk about this every single day that we can, or, that's on the schedule, because you can navigate the holidays completely differently. Oh, I've been seeing some really just icky recipes. I'm like, no, don't do that. Especially like with a lot of creamed soups and stuff, and they're just trash. But anyway, okay, that was number one. So number one was believing that it's only about cutting sugar. Number two, ignoring the role of chronic stress. Now, there are a lot of you that are my customers and my clients that are already, you're taking care of dementia parents. I've been there. Tough row to hoe, really hard. Some of you are overnight nurses, ICU nurses, etc. Some of you just have really stressful jobs and you're just like, what in the world? And if you do not pay attention to the role of chronic stress in your life, this could be really hard to turn back your insulin resistance. So stress is raising your cortisol levels. I had somebody in my inbox last night, we were talking about that, which increase, get this. Okay, so this is a connection, you guys. If you understand the connection, you'll make changes. So what happens is cortisol is a hormone. And when you have high cortisol, your fight or flight all the time, you're under stress, It's increasing your blood sugar. Did you know that? That if you have higher cortisol, you're increasing your blood sugar? I don't think most people know that. And it makes your cells even more resistant to insulin. Who knew that? That your cortisol is actually messing you up. I mean, that's crazy. Many overlook how daily stressors, work deadlines, family obligations, lack of downtime sabotage their progress. So here we are, holidays. Welcome. Welcome to the holidays, where like maybe we're not just dealing with food pushers and, the frustrations of social events where, all the food that you absolutely love and adore and is your total kryptonite are going to be served. But then maybe there's just a lot of pressure. Make sure you come here and make sure you go there and make sure you do this and make sure you do that. And, and make this food to, for this holiday and whatever it is. Like there are all of these preset things that happen inside of our families. I know them really, really well because I'm Italian. So I just know these things. Thank you for the follow, Sharon. You're awesome. I appreciate you so much. So that is what can be really like sabotaging our progress and we don't even know it. So what to do instead? Okay, so this season now, let's do it all together just a little bit, because I even have a few things that are on my list that I talked to my husband about that I'm like, okay, just they're not bad at all. We love the holidays, right? But you're just like, practice stress management techniques. Okay, so like I get up in the morning. Did you know that there are 31 proverbs in the Bible and that there are usually 30 to 31 days in a month? I mean, we know how that goes. You could read a proverb every single day. You could read a psalm every day. You could do something. You could spend time journaling out your feelings. You could spend just 10 minutes. You don't even have to have hours and hours available to you, but different things that you can do where you're kind of having mindfulness about your life. Does that make sense? Incorporate adaptogenic herbs. If you haven't reached out to me yet about adaptogenic herbs, I talked about this yesterday and one of you did. And just to make sure, because I'm telling you what, God gave us answers. He gave us answers. Do you guys remember the movie? Was it called The Medicine Man? And it was with Sean Connery. Does anybody remember that movie? Was that like back in the 90s maybe? And he was living in the rainforest as a doctor of some sort. And they were tracking the different plants and foliage that were being, I'm trying to remember this, you guys. They were tracking the foliage and things that were being ruined by logging companies. I mean, so it was a very, whatever. And how the cure for cancer was in the jungle, the cure for cancer or something like that. And so they were, like trying to save the rainforest because the cure for cancer was there. Well, that always made an impact on me because I thought to myself, there are plants out there that are actually giving us answers. Like, this is amazing. And so then when I then later found out about adaptogenic herbs and started using them, I thought, oh my gosh, God gave us answers in the plants. So anyway, incorporating adaptogenic herbs, and very specifically, and the two that I talk about the most and the two that I have in my line that are phenomenal are rhodiola and ashwagandha to support your stress resilience. If you have not reached out to me about those, go ahead and do that. And I will help you decide which one is best for what you're going through. Because, you don't have to take everything, not everybody's going to be like me. I'm a little bit of a geek about really targeting absolutely everything. Okay. Number 3, over relying on exercise alone. What's wrong? Well, okay. So you guys got to listen to this, because there are a lot of people that think that exercise alone is the key. And remember, eat less, move more, eat less, move more. I mean, that's like the Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance slogan of the universe. Well, exercise is really good and it's very important, right? Especially for, you want to have a strong heart and you want to have, you want to have strong muscles, etc. So exercise helps improve insulin sensitivity, but it's not enough. If your diet is ignored, it's not enough. It's not going to overcome. Chronic cardio or overtraining can even worsen insulin resistance. Have you heard this? Have you heard that chronic cardio or overtraining can even worsen insulin resistance by increasing cortisol levels. Did you know that? So if you're the person that's getting into the gym and you're doing the elliptical and the elliptical and the elliptical or whatever it is, and you just think that just like this mindset of HIIT cardio, high intensity is the way to go. Well, it could actually be raising your cortisol levels and sabotaging you. That's a frustrating reality when you've been conditioned to think that all you have to do is like cycle your way and just go hard all the time. Instead, prioritize strength training to build muscle. Strength training, which increases insulin sensitivity. Build your muscles. Do everything you can. This is why doing injections can be counterintuitive over time. Help on the front end, not on the back end if you are losing muscle. You don't want to be losing muscle. Not at all. You need to do the opposite. Combine it with low intensity activities like walking, which stabilizes blood sugar levels. So if all you did was walk, you would get so much further. Number 4, thinking that weight loss is the key. Now, don't get me wrong. We all want to lose weight, right? We want less impact on our joints. We want to be a different size. We don't want to gain 10 pounds over the holidays. I can teach you how not to gain 10 pounds over the holidays. When done properly, and I'm serious, when done correctly, you can take targeted supplementation just like we do all the time. We're talking about this. Targeted supplementation along with trading out your food ingredients. And I'm telling you, you can have a completely different holiday than you've ever had. Okay. But thinking weight loss is the key. Many people believe that they need to lose weight in order to reverse their insulin resistance, but it's actually the reverse. Improving insulin sensitivity is what leads to weight loss. I'm telling you, like your best friend that you never knew you needed. If you can go from insulin resistant to insulin sensitive, this is how you actually lose weight. Because when your insulin or your sugars are high, you can't lose weight. And I'll bet nobody told you that. And if you have high insulin all the time, you'll never burn fat. Doesn't work. You'll literally never burn fat. So you have to bring down your insulin and you have to bring down your sugars. And that's where the trio comes in that I talk about. It's the greatest gift that I can give you is to tell you how you can naturally take a step forward. It's the greatest gift I can tell you, how you can use targeted supplementation so that you can actually shift the way your body's functioning. And then that's how you lose weight. You don't lose weight and then become insulin sensitive. You become insulin sensitive and then you lose weight. Okay. Focusing on the scale overlooks the non-scale victories like improved energy, reduced inflammation, and better sleep. I am telling you, I had to throw my scale out like 7 years ago, 7 years ago. I have to actually just pause and think about how long it's been since I haven't had a scale, but it's got to be a good 7 years. Because that was telling me such a shallow, very like illusionary piece, if that's a word. It was an illusion. Your scale is an illusion. It's telling you whether or not on any given day you have gained or lost water, gained or lost muscle, gained or lost impacted waist. It's telling you such a shallow piece of your puzzle that does not translate into really important markers. So that's why in September, I sent out to people who placed orders while supplies lasted, measuring tapes, the fabric measuring tapes. Measure yourself, please measure yourself, because that tells you everything. When I started the trio, this was just a tiny bit over 10 years ago. I didn't know anything. I didn't know why this was going to work. I didn't know anything about it. I had no understanding of, sugar and insulin and liver and metabolism and visceral fat. And I knew nothing. But what happened was that fully supported me losing 3 sizes in my 50s. And when you measure yourself and you know the different sizes that you're shopping for, that helps a lot. That lends itself to such a sense of, well, I was going to say pride, but such a sense of accomplishment when you now go down a size. So losing 3 sizes in my 50s after my cycle stopped because I dealt with my insulin and my sugars, right? But this is the thing, is that your scale only tells you one piece of the puzzle. And especially like now, if you are trying the blood orange fat burner, the orange pixie stick, please measure yourself. And I know if you're like me, you're probably going to hear me say that and you're going to go, yeah, I'll do that. And then you don't do it. Because I didn't measure myself when I started either. But I'm really encouraging people, take the time to measure yourself, because what I'm finding is the testimonies are about 1 box 1 month in, and that is about 1 inch off of hips, waist, bust, etc. So just those are the testimonies that I'm getting. So about 1 month in, people are really starting to see, because it's meant to target the visceral fat around your waist and your hips. So anyway, make sure you're measuring yourself. Track your metrics, and a lot of you are doing this already. So Magda says she starts her day every day with Psalm 91. Oh, that's so good. It centers me. Then I do strength training exercise with resistance bands to gain muscle mass. You're trying. That is amazing, Magda. Good for you. Good for you. I'm going to get into, so what I'm going to do this winter now, because I'm in Minnesota. So, you got to figure something out. Walking is a given. You can easily walk anywhere. You can put on your parka and go for a walk and enjoy a good day. See how bright it is outside right now on Facebook. You can really see, well, you can see it on TikTok too. It's so bright. That's that transition into, where the sun is moving, obviously, but then it's that transition into winter where we get these days where when it's cold outside, it's really sunny. And if it's gloomy, it can be warmer because the clouds are keeping the heat in. Anyway, but you can go on these beautiful walks. But my goal this winter is to work with my husband and do strength training in the gym. So we'll be doing that because that's really important to get your muscles built up. And in the winter, you might as well take something on. So good for you, Magda. And I love Psalm 91. Love it, love it, love it. In fact, I won't go down there, but Psalm 91 has been very important in our life. So I love that. And a lot of you are tracking metrics like labs and things like that. So here we go. Track your fasting insulin, your glucose, your inflammation markers instead of just your weight. Track a more holistic approach to what you're trying to accomplish, okay? Celebrate small improvements like less bloating and better focus. You have to do that. Hey, Ruthie, good to see you. Thank you for all the likes. You're so amazing. The most people, and we went through this yesterday, they're not pulling a fasting insulin test for you. And was it yesterday or the day before? It doesn't matter. One of the days this week, if you go back on my replays on Instagram or on Facebook, and there was one about the testings that you can take that you don't require a doctor. There are places like requestatest.com that you can actually get tests done. You don't even have to go to a doctor. I'm not really sure how everything works, but you can get your own fasting insulin test. Okay. So if you don't know where your insulin is, because they're only checking blood glucose most of the time. So get your fasting insulin, get your glucose, get your inflammation markers instead of just your weight. And then you have to celebrate. You have to stop beating yourself up. You have to stop being unkind to yourself. And if you want a track to run on that you have never been on before, like every holiday season is just a shiz show for you and you hate it, you hate feeling bad all the time when you wake up about how you were actually like taking care of yourself or not taking care of yourself over, the next, what do we have now? 6 weeks until the new year. If you need a different track to run on because doggone it, you're not going to do it the same, then you need to connect with me. Don't stop yourself. Let's connect. Let's get you the targeted supplementation that you need. Let's get you into the Facebook group. Let's get you learning how to trade out your food ingredients. Let's get you so that you're prepared for the 5-day challenge in December. All of that content is free. It's free. Your investment is into yourself. Like Trudy's asking me, what are the pixie sticks? So the pixie sticks are actually, it's a blood orange extract that is a thermogenic product. And they put a clinical dose into an orange stick, powder stick that you put it on your tongue and you just take it like that. And it tastes like candy. It's a problem. I'm just kidding. It's not a problem. I still do only take one a day. Although you kind of, like my daughter was saying the other day, she goes like, I use it as my treat for the day. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I get it. But what it's doing is it is literally targeting the visceral fat. So your subcutaneous fat is like right here, the fat that you can squeeze, like, on your love handles right here, right on your tummy. Everybody's got like this little fat, right? That's regular fat. Underneath is your visceral fat. Now, visceral fat becomes a really big problem when it's around your liver and your pancreas and your stomach and your intestines. Like, these are issues, right? So we're kind of starting to understand that the visceral fat is bad. But now, if we're just talking about, like, let's talk about the fun part about getting rid of visceral fat when it's around your waist and your hips. So I'm just a hippie person. I have hips. And so, like, my hips, if my hips are wider than my shoulders, then I'm considered a pear, right? Well, so when I started taking this in August, I'm like, whoa, when they say that it'll help your waist and your hips, they're not lying. And so my hips have very much narrowed. And then my husband, it's been his love handles. And then I have so many testimonies, you guys. I could spend an entire hour just talking to you about testimonies of things. I really could, because it's been my goal to get testimonies. And by the way, if you sit down and you write me out a good test, I'm not going to judge it, but if you write me out like a paragraph testimony of either the trio, the 3 supplements that have the 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity, or the gut reset protocol, that's the gut primer with a probiotic, or the fat burner, the orange pixie stick, I will put you in a hat. And at the end of this year, I'm gathering all of these testimonies so that I can encourage a bunch of people on January 1, and I'm going to give away a free product. Okay. So just to let you know. But I could just sit and talk about testimonies because that's what matters to me. I want to know if this is helping you. But the best benefit is that not just that my hips went down, which I'm really grateful for, and I'm going to keep doing this because it's working. But it actually lends itself for insulin sensitivity. It's another layer to help with your insulin sensitivity. It's amazing. Good morning, Carol. You're so good. Late to the game. We'll have to watch the replay. No problemo, Carol. No problemo. So I hope that answered your question, Trudy, as to what does it do. That's what it does. No, Julie, not the gut drink for the hips. It's the orange pixie stick. It's the blood orange fat burner. Okay. And there are I have a few testimonies up in a highlight bubble on my Instagram page, just like 3 of them so far, just because I'm working on collecting to get them in there. And I would say, because I didn't talk about it for a while, 34 degrees in Tennessee. Wow, that is chilly. I didn't talk about it for a while. And the reason why is because I feel very responsible to my community that is working with insulin sensitivity, working towards. And so I wanted to make sure it wasn't going to spike sugars. That was really important to me. You're welcome, Trudy. Yeah. And you can, if you want me to just send you like a link on that, you can just let me know there, and I will do that when I get off, because Facebook lasts. Instagram and TikTok, your messages go away after I'm done with the live. So anyway, okay. So, and it's just a real deal, man. Like, these are not, I've worked really hard not to overhype. Worked really hard because the results are really quite, they're kind of a little stunning, just not going to lie. Anyway, and about 1 box in, people are starting to see the results, just to let you know. Okay. Very good. Very good, Trudy. I will do that. So that was number 4. Number 4 was thinking that weight loss is the key. We like weight loss, but you don't lose weight and become insulin sensitive. You become insulin sensitive and then you lose weight. You have to hear that, because you're on a hamster wheel going, I have no idea. Why are things not working anymore? I'm counting my points. I'm on my prepackaged processed food $1,200 a month program. Why is it not working for me anymore? Why are all of the things that I've been doing in my 30s not working for me in my 40s or my 50s? And I'll be 60 in January. So I understand, like I've done this whole process. Okay. Number 5, neglecting sleep's role. Okay. Let's get into sleep a little tiny bit. So sleep deprivation actually causes insulin resistance because this is what it's doing. It's disrupting your hormones like cortisol, leptin, and ghrelin. And those hormones are telling you like when you're full, telling you when you're satiated, your stress hormone like cortisol, it's messing with your hormones. That's why, have you ever noticed like you get like, let's say you have a night where you just don't get a lot of sleep and you are the next day, you're ravenous for carbs. You're just like chasing donuts and anything you can get your hands on when it comes to carbohydrates. It's because your hormones have been disrupted and now you're hungry, hungry, hungry. That's because your hormones that help to keep you, tell your brain that you're full, etc., they're not working. They're like broken for a half a minute there until you can get some good sleep. So many underestimate the impact of poor sleep, prioritizing exercise or work over rest. So aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep each night. I personally I take 2 magnesium before I go to bed and the ashwagandha that I talk about all the time. I take 2 magnesium and an ashwagandha so that I can get good sleep. And if you ever need sleep answers, I can help decide which one is going to work best for you. Like we have an herbal remedy. It's actually on back order right now. It's a really, really good herbal blend. I have a melatonin gummy. I have ashwagandha. There are a few things that people can try, etc. So Kristen, thank you. And then create a bedtime routine to wind down and avoid screens an hour before bed. I'm not going to say that I'm really good at that all the time. Do as I say, not as I do. But those are things that can really make a big difference. So, okay. Number 6, overlooking hidden insulin triggers. Oh, this is a good one, you guys. Foods that are marketed as healthy. Things that have whole grains in them, fruit juices, or even certain protein bars can spike insulin. This is why I teach grain-free, sugar-free, grain-free, sugar-free. Because you're trying to walk a line. Most of you, not all of you, but most, because this is me, because this is where I was, you guys. I'm like rewarding myself with sweet potato fries. I was rewarding myself with things that, well, at least it's real food, at least it's whatever, and not understanding the cycle. Raise your sugar, raise your insulin. When they are higher, you can't lose weight. Because once you're insulin resistant, your cell is the door is shut. Remember the analogy, I think it was on Monday. Insulin is the delivery truck. And it's driving over to pick up the glucose to get it into your cell for energy. It's going to put it into your storage unit. So your cells are storage units all over your body. Okay. And the delivery truck is going to go pick up the glucose and drive it into the cells. But the door is jammed. It might even be broken. It might be completely like off the hinges or something. I don't know. No, because then it would be on the floor. Nope, it's jammed. You cannot open it. But that delivery truck actually has the key. Can't use it anymore. It's not working. So now your cell you're exhausted because now you didn't get energy into your cell. But now that delivery truck is still going to deliver all that glucose. It's not going to stop delivering it. It's just going to now deliver it into areas to turn into fat. So how excited are we about that? That we're going backwards in the gaining of fat instead of forwards into energy and make the body function. We're not happy about that. So that's why we have to change how we're doing things. And that's when you make the decision, everything you're putting into your mouth, you're asking the question, how much is this going to spike my sugar? Because if it's going to spike my sugars high, it's also going to spike my insulin high. And if my cell is resistant and it's not sensitive yet, we haven't done the things necessary yet. Maybe there are many pieces. If we're not sensitive yet, it's going to store it as fat. So I have to stop the cycle of sugar, insulin, fat, fat, fat. We have to stop that. Okay. So almost always when you are looking at marketed foods that they are keto friendly, they are healthy, and they just try to get you with any kind of verbiage that they can get you with. You're thinking that gluten-free is good enough. Nope. Has to be grain-free in order for it to not spike your sugars. Maybe you're thinking still kind of the old thought process was that low fat was the way to go. So it's low fat, it's gluten-free, it's this, it's that, it's jazz hands. Whoa! And you're thinking that that's smart. Oh, it's keto friendly. No, most all of the time, they are not selling you products that are helping you with sugar spiking and insulin spiking. Most always they are not. It's very frustrating. So you have to become your own advocate. You have to know your own universe. Okay. So artificial sweeteners like aspartame can really trigger. There's also like if you look at, I can't remember what the sweetener is like on Russell Stover candies, Werther, sugar-free Werther caramels, those hard caramels, they're like, well, they're hard. There are good sweeteners like allulose and stevia and monk fruit and erythritol that don't raise your sugars. And then there are bad ones. And aspartame is one of them that would raise your insulin. And then I'm trying to think. And that can be challenging because did you know that aspartame is almost in every single gum that you chew? I'm a gum chewer. I'm just saying, it's really frustrating. You go and look at your gum aisle. If you're a gum chewer like me, you go look at your gum aisle. You try to find a gum that doesn't have aspartame in it. The only one that I've really found, I mean, there are more, I'm sure, but I find the one that's pure, PUR. They sell it like at Marshall's or on Amazon. Anyway, you have to pay attention to these things. And there are a lot of different ice cream companies that use really bad ingredients. There are some sugar-free candy companies that are not helping you at all. And you're thinking, so like for instance, okay, if I go to the Mall of America, which I've done, or even last weekend, we were at a resort in French Lick, Indiana, for our business team. And so we went for a retreat and there was a candy store, and the candy store sold one little like sugar-free caramel, chocolate covered caramel turtle. So I bought those. I know full well what I'm doing when I buy those. I know that that's going to spike my sugars. There's no way they made that with good ingredients. There's no way. But I know what I'm doing in that moment, right? I'm mitigating. In effect, I'm at least mitigating a little bit, but I'm not silly enough to think that I should buy a pound of that, bring that home, and eat them all the time. Okay, so every now and then, like another thing would be like we go to the Mall of America and there's the is it the Lind store? LINDT? Is that what it's called, you guys? Chocolates. They're really, really good. They're just like creamy and buttery and amazing. And the sugar-free ones are just as good. But I'm not confused. I do not think that me buying 2 little tiny chocolates, that those ingredients are going to be good. So I do it knowing that I'm mitigating, at least part of the issue in that moment. So I don't miss out on anything, right? But I don't buy a pound of that and bring it home. That would be really stupid because I would eat the whole thing like in an afternoon and then I would have probably bathroom issues. You just can't do that. But also too, I just know that that's just going to spike. So I'm not going to do that all the time. Like it's a rare occurrence, but at least I can find where I am able to like plug myself into a normal life, like, or whatever it is. I don't even think for me, that's what it is. It probably was that for me a long time ago. I don't feel like that's what it is anymore. But every now and then you're like, well, you just kind of want to have a treat too as you're out shopping or doing whatever, right? Okay, so that's where you have to. So you have to stick. If you stick to whole unprocessed foods, you won't have these issues. If you're eating chicken and asparagus, you're not going to have these issues because you're eating whole food. A whole food is a chicken breast, eggs, a steak. There's nothing, that's not processed food. That's whole food. You're eating your salad and a good salad dressing that doesn't have seed oils in it, or something like that, right? Whole food, you eliminate this issue, this conversation. And then, of course, you can use stevia, monk fruit, allulose. And allulose is actually showing really good results in testing that it's actually bringing down sugars. That's crazy. That's really crazy that's like, how does that happen? Number 7, and is this the last one? Nope, there's one more. Number 7 is not supporting your gut. So a damaged gut, and you guys, we talk about this a lot with the gut reset protocol. So I was in conversation last night with somebody that said, I kind of want it all. Tell me where to start. Like, do I just get everything, or do I start somewhere specific? And this is my answer, because the gut is a really important piece of your conversation. So insulin resistance creates leaky gut. And so when you have a leaky gut and you're not absorbing your nutrients, what's happening is you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're not absorbing the nutrients from your food, and you're not absorbing what you need from your supplementation. And that's really frustrating, because then now you're kind of a little bit on a cycle. So if you're already on the trio, the 3 supplements that help with insulin sensitivity, and you maybe want to beef that up and you haven't done that yet, you can work on a gut reset protocol. I can just tell you what that is here quickly. Or if you haven't tried anything yet and you're like, okay, fine. I'm going to do the next 6 weeks differently so that I can go into January with a different outcome. Where do I start? Well, if you already know that you have leaky gut, you know that you have digestive issues, and you need to start with a very baseline. It doesn't mean you start one and you can start both at the same time, but understand that what's happening is, like, I've already gotten up this morning and I've already taken my gut primer and my probiotic. And the reason why is because a gut primer, not just a greens product, I can show it to you. It looks like tea. It looks like a greens product, but it's not. Okay, so it looks like tea. I actually don't like tea. That's okay. But there are 6 different blends in this. So here it's saying that a damaged gut, often from antibiotics, is that you, processed foods, or stress, worsens your insulin resistance by promoting inflammation. Gut imbalances affect the production of your hormones like GLP-1, which regulates your blood sugar. So those injection thingamajiggers, that's actually a natural hormone that your body produces. It's called GLP-1, and it regulates your blood sugar. Did you know that? Okay. So taking probiotics and prebiotics to restore your gut health, add fermented foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, etc., and fiber-rich vegetables to your diet. So a greens product, which I have a greens product, it's organic, it's great, it's amazing. My husband every single day mixes a scoop of the primer with a scoop of our greens product, and he seriously, every single day, he has the exact same response. Oh man, I love this stuff. I'm like, okay. Hi, Carla. Good to see you. I'm like, okay, honey. He's like, I'm serious. I would, if this mixture was bottled, this is what he said this morning. If this mixture was bottled and sold in a store, I would buy it all the time. Because I mean, I understand we're already buying it, but like, I would buy it pre-made. He just loves that mixture because the greens, they actually have a little stevia in them. They're sweet. And then he's adding that to the primer. He's happy. But a primer like this is not just a greens product. A primer, this one has 6 blends in it. Prebiotic, postbiotic, alkaline spices, because you want an alkaline environment, okay? Digestive enzymes to help you digest your foods, fermented greens, when they talk about sauerkraut, kimchi, etc., fermented greens, and fiber from the extracts of fruits and vegetables. So this is a daily GI primer every day. I take a scoop of this, and then I take my Stop the tongue, my probiotic. And they very intentionally did not put the probiotic in here because they are alive. You have live cultures, and they didn't want you to be zhuzhing them up, okay, and messing with the probiotics. They are not as stable as a postbiotic. It's just the way that it is. And so, having said that, putting those two together, you are restoring the health of your gut. You're helping to absorb nutrients that you have been losing because of your leaky gut. You're bringing down that inflammation. You're actually beginning to digest your food. And what that's turning into for people is, oh my gosh, my indigestion went away. Oh my gosh, my constipation, 3 days gone. Oh my gosh, I can stop taking the over-the-counter meds for my constipation. I don't need stool softeners, etc. Right? My energy, wow, because you're moving that impacted waste and toxins through your body. Or I am sleeping like I've never slept in years. Why is that? Well, because you're actually starting to restore your body's ability to create the hormones that it needs to create, like serotonin, the happiness neurotransmitter hormone that makes you feel like you have good mental health and happiness inside of you. That's 90% of it's made in your gut. The hormone, the GLP-1 that helps to regulate your blood sugar, gut. Ghrelin that helps to know that you're full, gut. You want your cortisol to be better. You want your insulin to be better. Dealing with your gut. So sometimes that's a good place to start. Or oftentimes people are doing both the gut reset protocol and the trio. And then I know it's hard to not talk about, people are like, but I want the fat burner too. I get it. But you know what? You can customize as you go. It's okay. So the last one is expecting quick fixes. And this is very common, but I do appreciate you guys a lot because more of you than not actually know that this is a healing journey. And I don't know if that's just because I say it all the time or because you hear other people say it too or whatever. There's something inside of you that knows that this is not meant to be a quick fix. This isn't a, do this for a couple of weeks and you're good to go. And that's not a long-term thought process. So insulin resistance develops over years, and many expect to reverse it in weeks. It doesn't work that way. Frustration with slow progress leads people to give up or jump to fad diets. Instead, understand that reversing insulin resistance is a marathon and it's not a sprint. Okay? And stay consistent with lifestyle changes and track progress over months, not days. And, like Terry, when she jumps on here, over 8 months now, she changed her diet. She is now sugar-free, grain-free. She started taking the trio, the 3 supplements that help with insulin sensitivity, and she's lost 40 pounds in 8 months. Okay. And last year I had a client who over Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year, she lost 25 pounds because she was taking the trio. So I'm just telling you, like, I have so many testimonies I could print out my Google sheet of testimonies and I could just sit here for an hour and read you testimonies of the trio alone. And now we're starting to gather the testimonies on the gut primer and the fat burner pixie stick, the orange pixie stick. And pretty soon I'll have another Google sheet of testimonies. Because when you have products that have, how do I say it this way? Let me put it this way. You can have all day long. I just heard Shailene Johnson. Does anybody know who Shailene Johnson is? She used to be a Beachbody coach, worker outer. She's very, she's like a celebrity, like a workout celebrity influencer. And I heard her this morning talk about, she said, please, please, please don't buy your supplements off of Amazon. Please don't do that. And she said, and the reason why, and she wasn't even selling, she was just telling somebody to go to the actual manufacturer. She didn't have a link or anything. She said, don't do that. Because what's happening is if you do not go directly to the manufacturer of a product, you could be buying expired ingredients. You could be buying like totally fake ingredients. And I do know that even when I was at headquarters in June, where we got to hear this expert that's coming in December, that I'm so excited about. At the same time, we talked to the legal and ethics committee. And they told us about how they have to spend so much money and time to shut down fraudulent schemes and scams trying to replicate their products. Because when, anybody that has any product that's, a good product or a good brand, etc., somebody's going to people just whatever, they've got too much time on their hands or whatever, but they have to work on that all the time. And so instead, what happens is the reason why I can get so many testimonies off of everything that we launch in this arena when it comes to insulin resistance is because they have over 500 scientists working on everything. Like most of the time when they go, when something is out of stock, it's because of an ingredient, because the standard is just really high on the ingredient. And so you get these results that other people don't get. Like when I talk about the turmeric, and the turmeric is 45 times more absorbable than another turmeric. So here we think we're doing a good thing by going to a drugstore or to a mart or to a warehouse, like, the Costco's and the Sam Clubs. We don't know what we're getting all the time, but we also don't know when we're shopping on Amazon. And she said, and she goes, and I'm an Amazon queen. Like she is an Amazon person. I think she probably is an affiliate for tons of links because she's an influencer. She does that. She said, but don't get your supplements there. Don't do it. And I have to agree, not just because I'm in business the way that I am, but there's no way I just can't imagine that I would have gotten the results that I've gotten over the years with adaptogenic herbs, with the trio, with the fat burner. Like, I just don't think I would have gotten those results had they come from potentially a company that's trying to knock off or cut a corner. Every time you cut a corner, you have two more corners. I can't deal with that lack of integrity when I'm dealing with trying to fix my body. So I'm just telling you that. And I feel like what's really cool is that, because when you go to a naturopath, and I worked with one and I love naturopaths, but when you go to a naturopath, number one, you have to pay out of pocket for all of your testing, right? Because your insurance doesn't cover it. And number two, a lot of the supplements that are on the shelves are definitely of good quality for sure. But they're way more expensive than what I'm talking about. So I know my role, and I know what I've got my hands on to share with other people to try to find that in between a little bit. So I'm just telling you, like, I'm not confused at all. The big takeaway on this is everyone wants a quick fix for insulin resistance, but the truth is that it requires a holistic, long-term approach. It's not just about cutting carbs or exercising more. It's about fixing the foundational habits that regulate your hormones, your inflammation, and your metabolism. And that is basically the overall of what we just talked about. This is not just a 2-week thought process or a quick fix for anything, but I'm telling you what, you can be in a completely different place by even January 1st. You can be in a completely different place for sure by April. Like December, January, February, March, April, May. Let's go 6 months. And I say 6 months. Why? Because everything has a 6-month guarantee. You can be in a completely different place. So when done correctly, you can take targeted supplementation. You can jump into the Facebook group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. We'll do another challenge in December. We'll do another challenge in January. We'll do another challenge in February. Like, this is every single month that we do one. We're coming up on our 19th one now. You can actually then like really be encouraged and resourced to take down that month. And then we'll do it again, because I know that it doesn't all happen overnight. I'm not confused. I don't think that you just hear everything one time and then you're good to go. This took me like 3 to 4 years, you guys. So what if you were able to have time compressed? Like Terry, 8 months. Well, 8 months sounds a whole lot better than my 3 to 4 years. A whole lot better. I'm just telling you. So anyway, so always reach out to me. I have Messenger for my Facebook. I have my Instagram inbox and TikTok. I put this up here for a reason. I do that so that you can like find a way to portal over to IG or there's a phone number that's on that link right there, and you can text me. Okay. Because I can't do a lot of different conversations on TikTok. It's just different. It just is what it is. So we work with what we've been given on the platforms to reach people, and we don't complain about it. We just fix it. That's what we do, because everybody deserves to hear the information. Everybody deserves to hear the alternative to the matrix that they're so frustrated with. Oh man, telling you, people are up in arms. Do you know what my endocrinologist told me the other day? Oh my gosh. And I'm like, I'm sorry. So anyway, but again, I'm just an Italian girl who figured it out. And if I being such a foodie, so addicted to sugar, with a dad that died at 63, type 2 diabetes, if I can figure this out and lose 3 sizes in my 50s, love the food that I eat, not ever worry about, I know how type 2 works. It doesn't just jump on you. It doesn't just attach itself to you. It's created. It's not in every nation in this world for a reason. Okay. So once we can identify the driver of it, we can eliminate that and we can turn things back. And if you want to journey with me, with somebody who's going to encourage you and resource you and walk with you and give you an actual track to run on, then don't stop yourself from doing that. At least pause and get into an inbox with me and say, I was on your live. Can you tell me a little bit more about? And let's get you walking down that journey so that you don't have to wake up every morning and just hate what you did the day before, or feel like trash, or be so exhausted because either you can't sleep at night or because you're just not getting any energy into your cells and you feel like trash. Maybe you're on scripts and you've gotten your A1C down, but you can't lose 1 freaking pound. You're like, what is going on? Well, I had somebody that did that too for 3 years. Could not lose 1 pound, even though her A1C was going down. She started the trio, and in 3 months, 2.5 months actually, her morning sugars came down 30 points and she lost 14 pounds. So there are different answers out there, is my point. So, all right. You guys have such an amazing day. I'm going to jump, and I will be back here tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And I hope you have like the best day ever. It's always so good to see you guys. You are freaking amazing. And I will chat with you very, very soon.